On May 3, 2008, Yahoo co-founder Jerry Yang sat at the head of a Sunnyvale boardroom table and officially rejected a $44.6 billion buyout from Microsoft. 9 years later, following the largest cyber heist in human history, his empire was stripped and sold to Verizon for exactly 1/10 of that price. A garage offer rejected for $1 million. A secret civil war inside Silicon Valley. 3 billion user accounts leaked online. Look at your browser history right now. How did the absolute king of the early internet manage to buy the wrong companies, reject the right ones, and systematically dismantle a $125 billion monopoly from the inside out? In February 1994, 2 Stanford PhD students were sitting inside a cramped trailer on campus. Jerry Yang and David Philo weren't trying to build a billion-dollar company. They just wanted a way to keep track of their favorite websites. They called their list Jerry and David's Guide to the World Wide Web. The internet was a chaotic digital wilderness back then. There were no search bars, no automated web crawlers, and no algorithms. Do you remember what navigating the web felt like in 1994? Jerry and David didn't write software to index the web. They literally hired hundreds of human beings to review websites one by one and sort them into categories by hand. If you started a business in 1995, you had to submit your URL to Yahoo and wait weeks for a staffer to approve it. In January 1995, they officially renamed the service Yahoo. It stood for yet another hierarchical officious oracle. Millions of users flooded the site every day. Capital was practically falling from the sky. On April 12, 1996, Yahoo launched its initial public offering on Wall Street. Shares surged 154% in a single day. Jerry Yang and David Philo became paper billionaires before turning 30. Advertisers were lined up down the street. Corporate brands paid $10,000 a week for a tiny banner ad on Yahoo's front page. Money was washing over Sunnyvale like a tidal wave. Why change anything when you own the front door to the world? Then, in 1998, 2 young men walked into Yahoo headquarters with a paper folder. Larry Page and Sergey Brin had developed a search engine algorithm called PageRank. It didn't rely on human editors at all. PageRank ranked web pages automatically based on how many other sites linked to them. It was faster, cleaner, and radically more accurate than human indexing. Page and Brin were exhausted and wanted to return to their PhD programs at Stanford. They offered to sell their entire technology to Yahoo for just $1 million. Jerry Yang turned them down cold. Yahoo didn't want users to find an answer and leave the site in 3 seconds. Yahoo was a media portal. They wanted users to stay trapped on their home page, clicking news, checking weather, and staring at banner ads. Would you buy a search engine that encourages your customers to leave? That single strategic logic felt brilliant in 1998. On January 3, 2000, at the absolute climax of the dot-com boom, Yahoo's market capitalization touched $125 billion. They were buying up startups like Monopoly Money. They spent $7 billion in stock to acquire Broadcast.com from Mark Cuban. Broadcast.com had almost no revenue and terrible audio streaming quality. Cuban immediately sold his Yahoo stock, locked in billions, and bought the Dallas Mavericks. Broadcast.com was shut down just a few years later. Then the dot-com bubble burst. Hundreds of internet companies disappeared overnight. Yahoo's stock plummeted by over 90%. Yet Yahoo survived on sheer traffic volume. But while Yahoo was licking its wounds, Google was growing into a quiet behemoth. In 2002, Yahoo CEO Terry Semel realized his mistake and opened negotiations to buy Google. Larry Page and Sergey Brin demanded $3 billion. Semel hesitated and countered with $2 billion. By the time Semel agreed to the $3 billion price tag, Google raised the bar to $5 billion. Semel walked away over a $2 billion difference. Today, Google's parent company Alphabet is worth over $2 trillion. While Yahoo celebrated their temporary profits, that rejected buyout was quietly ticking down like a pipe bomb. If you want the unvarnished truth of how tech monopolies collapse, Built and Broken exposes a new corporate crime every week. By 2004, Yahoo was experiencing a catastrophic identity crisis. Was Yahoo a technology company or a Hollywood media broadcaster? Suits wanted Hollywood movies. Hoodies wanted search algorithms. While Executive VP Terry Semel argued over board seats, two multi-billion-dollar deals slipped right through his fingers. Semel came from Warner Bros. And had zero background in software. He moved Yahoo's media division to Santa Monica, spending millions on video distribution hubs. Meanwhile, back in Sunnyvale, engineering teams were starved of funding. Key developers began quitting in droves to join Google. Why invest in back-end search infrastructure when banner ads are generating cash today? Because in 2005, Yahoo's homepage was pulling 400 million visitors, and Semel believed nobody could ever turn off that faucet. Then, in 2006, a 22-year-old college dropout named Mark Zuckerberg sat down across from Terry Semel. Yahoo offered to purchase Facebook for exactly $1 billion. Zuckerberg reluctantly agreed to the number. Then Yahoo posted a disappointing quarterly earnings report. Its stock dipped 3%. Instead of honoring the original agreement, Terry Semel unilaterally cut the offer from $1 billion to $850 million at the signing table. Zuckerberg reportedly took 10 seconds to answer. He stood up, folded his papers, and walked out of the room. Yahoo had just fumbled both search and social media inside 4 years. What happens to a tech titan that refuses to innovate? In June 2007, an enraged Yahoo board fired Terry Semel. They brought back founding father Jerry Yang as CEO to save his creation. Then, on February 1, 2008, Microsoft CEO Steve Ballmer dropped a nuclear bomb on Silicon Valley. Microsoft officially launched an unsolicited buyout offer for Yahoo at $31 per share, a 62% premium over Yahoo's trading price. Total value, $44.6 billion cash and stock. Ballmer wanted to merge Yahoo with Bing to crush Google once and for all. Jerry Yang was horrified. Yahoo was his baby, his identity, his life's work. Selling to Microsoft felt like surrendering to an evil empire. Yang locked himself in his office, refused to sign the paperwork, and ignored 3 urgent calls from Microsoft's board. On May 3, 2008, Yang formally rejected Microsoft's offer, claiming $44.6 billion substantially undervalued Yahoo. Steve Ballmer was stunned. He walked away from the table. Within 5 months, the global banking system crashed in the 2008 financial crisis. Yahoo's stock collapsed to $14 per share. $30 billion in shareholder equity evaporated into thin air. Enraged investors forced Jerry Yang to step down as CEO in shame. Remember that missing $44.6 billion. Yahoo was about to enter a 10-year corporate death spiral. Over the next 4 years, Yahoo cycled through 4 different CEOs. Carol Bartz swore publicly at reporters and was fired over the phone. Her replacement, Scott Thompson, was caught fabricating a computer science degree on his official corporate resume and lasted just 4 months. Desperate for a savior, the board hired Google superstar executive Marissa Mayer in July 2012. Mayer immediately went on a shopping spree, buying 53 startups for over $2 billion. In May 2013, she bought blogging platform Tumblr for $1 billion in cash, promising not to screw it up. Tumblr generated practically zero profits. Within 3 years, Yahoo wrote down $712 million of Tumblr's value. When a multi-billion-dollar tech titan makes fatal moves like this, built and broken, breaks down the exact receipts before anyone else. While Mayer was redesigning the homepage logo, a dark, silent nightmare was creeping inside Yahoo's back-end infrastructure. In August 2013, state-sponsored Russian hackers penetrated Yahoo's central user database in Sunnyvale. They forged digital cookies, bypassing password requirements entirely. How many accounts do you think they walked away with? Not 10 million, not 100 million. The hackers compromised 3 billion accounts, literally every single user account in Yahoo's system. Full names, email addresses, telephone numbers, birth dates, hashed passwords, and unencrypted security questions were stolen. Yahoo's internal cybersecurity division, affectionately nicknamed the Paranoids, had repeatedly begged executives for budget to overhaul security. Leadership repeatedly pushed back security upgrades. They feared mandatory password resets would hurt user retention and quarter-to-quarter ad metrics. In late 2014, a second massive state-sponsored hack hit 500 million additional accounts. Yahoo management kept quiet. They hid the breaches from the public, the SEC, and their own shareholders for 3 full years. In July 2016, telecom titan Verizon agreed to buy Yahoo's core operating business for $83 billion. 2 months later, in September 2016, the catastrophic breaches leaked to the press. Verizon executives were outraged.
Your banking logins, your personal photos, your private messages all posted to a Russian dark web forum for less than $5,000.
Verizon renegotiated immediately, slashing $350 million off the price. On June 13, 2017, the final sale officially closed for $48 billion. Look at those numbers side by side. Jerry Yang held out for $37 a share and got $4.48 instead. Verizon merged Yahoo with AOL to create a doomed umbrella brand called Oath. 4 years later, Verizon dumped Oath to private equity firm Apollo Global for $5 billion. Ironically, Jerry Yang made one single brilliant investment in 2005 that saved Yahoo from absolute bankruptcy. He bought 40% of a tiny Chinese e-commerce company named Alibaba for $1 billion. That stake eventually grew to be worth over $80 billion. In the end, Yahoo wasn't a tech company at all. It was just an Asian holding firm wearing the rotting corpse of a 1990s search engine. Yahoo didn't just lose the internet. They literally handed the keys to Google and Facebook and then locked themselves out of the building. The same arrogant pattern that killed Yahoo is happening right now inside another tech company everyone worships. If you want the full breakdown when that empire collapses, subscribe to Built and Broken right now.